Well, welcome back, my friends, to an Amazon rendition. Another rousing rendition of Choir Boys Outdoors. This is the Amazon made by Shade Indonesia. Now, this is a beast. Now, listen, guys. I show a lot of Shaney stuff. Shaney is the owner of Shade Indonesia. I'm tagged his YouTube channel in the title. All you got to do is put your little arrow over it and click it. That's it. It's easy. You can go straight to his YouTube channel. In the description, I will put how you can find him on Instagram. He is a phenomenal, amazing maker. That's why I have so much of his stuff on. I love his stuff. I really do. And a lot of guys who have things made will have it sent to me for review, and I am forever appreciative for that. This particular knife was sent to me by Jacob Lamb. Jacob's a brother. He's somebody you've heard about on this channel quite a bit. This is a great knife. Now, it's 5160 steel. I believe these are micarta handle scales with G10 liners. I could be wrong, but I believe that's it. If they're micarta, I believe it's that canvas micarta. Either that or it's the waffled G10. You get a great grip on it. Now, the blade stock on this thing, and guys, just so you know, if you're new here, I pull everything by hand. The blade stock on this is 5/16. So it is an absolute monster of a knife. We've got an overall length of right at 11. Guys, we're going to go with 11 3/4. Now that's from tip to tip. The blade length on this particular one is 6 and let's go with 6. Let's go with 6 3/8 on the blade length with a 6-inch cutting edge. The blade width is a little bit over 2 inches, like 2 1/8. So it's got that wide, slicey type thing that I like. The handle length on this thing. Now, what I'm measuring here is simply the scales. They are 5 1/4. The inner grip is 4 5/16. So massive handle. Let me give you the handle thickness at the palm swell is right at 7/8 of an inch. So it's a bigger handle, but it's not huge. I would say that any hand on the world could probably handle this knife comfortably unless you just have tiny hands. But a small hand could handle this. We've got some jimping right where the handle goes into the spine, or I'm sorry, where the handle goes into the cutting edge on the back there. I know I screwed all that up. Y'all know where the hell it's at. Now, we've got kind of a greenish color handle scales. It does have a lanyard hole, razor sharp. The thing that I like about this knife, I like to go through and I like to pick out several things. One, the handle is insanely comfortable. Two, it came razor sharp. That makes it real easy to review. It really does, especially when you just cut stuff up. But Shaney does everything that way. I have probably had, at this point, I have probably reviewed 20 to 30 pieces that Shaney's made. Not one of them's been dull. Not one time. Not one of them has killed my hand. Not one time. There's no hot spots. There's no jarring. And again, guys, like I said yesterday, I'm not here to review the knife. I mean, I'm just not. I want to use it, give you my experience with it. If you want to make a purchase from Shaney, use all of these videos. See what you think. I think he's a phenomenal maker. And here's what I like about Shaney. There's been a time or two, that Warwolf, there was a little chip in the edge from hitting a piece of red oak, right? He had it sent to me. He had that one sent to me, and he made the guy a new one. That's happened a couple times, right? Now you'd say, well, it shouldn't chip. Well, guys, think about the day and age we live. And I mean, seriously now, think about the knife reviews you're watching. Think about the stuff you even see on my channel that you're never going to do with a knife. So you can't really regard chips or stuff like that anymore. You know, if it was cutting paper or making bologna sandwiches or doing some shit like that, you get a chip, well, that's a problem. A YouTube knife review should cancel out any chips. And I don't give a shit who it is. Me, Joe, anybody. This knife didn't chip, roll, or anything, right? not a lick. And what I wanted to do right here, this is just some fat wood. Basically, honestly, I was just splitting it. Why? Just to get the groove of the knife. It's thick, it's big, you can beat it through a tree stump, but at the same time you can take a tiny sliver of fat wood and hand bump it all the way down to a toothpick size. That speaks to me. Right here, again, just getting the feel of the knife. That's why I say I don't really review them. I mean, I don't know, like, what could I tell you other than my experience? Nothing. My experience, like doing something like this, I found my sweet spot right there. And I don't really make feather sticks. That's just kind of a modified deal that I do, making some curls. But I like to see, if you watch when I do it, like the next time that I'm making some curls, watch my wrist. A lot of times I have a slight inflection in my wrist and I'm just kind of digging in. I like to do that to see what kind of bite the knife will get. Just a simple push. So what I found with this particular style, with this blade, not style, but this blade, is I can manipulate my wrist to really dig. I could have probably dug all the way through that piece of wood right there and never moved the knife more than 2 or 3 inches. It gets a good bite. I could slice up a cucumber, slice up a tomato. It wouldn't mash it. It would be clean slices. This knife came with beautifully done. Beautifully done. And then, of course, we're going to beat it down into a batoning type situation. And again, I'll tell you, I don't baton in real life. Now, when I go to Blackie's, when I camp, when I do things like that, if I'm sitting around a fire, I absolutely whittle. And I will absolutely use a knife this size to do it. Or I may walk over and bump some wood, just hand baton. You know what I'm saying? Or I may take a stick, if my grandson's with me, baton it down super small, and me and him may work on making a fire. That's about the extent. I don't do huge, logs. There's no need to. I have an axe for that. The beautiful thing about Shaney's tools is if you needed to do that, you could. If you were in that situation, you could. Or, and when I say this, guys, please understand this. When I'm talking about processing game, is this the optimal knife for that? No, it's not. Could you do it? Yep. If you got the skill set, it's sharp enough, it's easy enough to control. You could build a shelter, you could build a fire. You most certainly could do some hard use, heavy use with it. You could do some light use with it. It actually has a good enough feel and a good enough balance point. It's a knife I would carry on a hike. It's a knife I would carry on a game scout. It just doesn't, even when knives are a little heavier, when they're done correctly, and you guys know what I'm talking about. A lot of you guys are experienced hunters, campers, knife enthusiasts, etc. So you know what I'm going to say here. When the knife is well balanced and it's done correctly, even if it's a little heavier, it still has a real carryability to it. And I made that word up, but y'all know what I'm saying. You would grab this knife and go, yep, I'm taking this knife. It might be a little heavier, but it's not going to slow me down. There's a good look. Got that sweet polished edge. The thing with this polished edge, and y'all know I've said a million times, I kind of prefer a toothier edge unless Shaney does it. Shaney has a way of making these edges not only razor sharp, but right there at the edge, right there on the edge, on the line. It's just got a little bit of grit to it. It's got a little bit of bite to it, so that, yes, I can slice, but I can slice and slice and slice. I don't have to turn around and resharpen. I don't have to turn around and strop. I don't have to really maintain that polished edge. Shaney has a way of making the very, very apex of that edge. It's just, you have to feel one. Because I'm doing it right now after doing the review, right? I did the review yesterday, went to Kirk's, worked on it. We banged and clanged, we did all that. Now right here, this is what I want to show you. After banging on the knife, it still cuts ratchet strap. We use the thin stuff, we use the thick stuff. And I'm using smaller pieces. Now listen, you guys, again, and one thing I appreciate about you guys a lot is a lot of you do use your knives a lot. You know that the smaller a piece of ratchet strap you have, it's more and more difficult to cut, the smaller it gets. You get a big piece, you can put a little leverage on it, and it looks like it goes straight through it. That's why you see me using those smaller pieces. This knife is super sharp. It held its edge amazingly. I'm looking at it right now in the light just as I'm talking to you guys. There's no chips. It didn't roll. And I've just kind of been running my thumb along the edge. I don't have to do anything to this knife. Now, I'm going to strop it off and send it off for review from some other guys because I want to get Shaney out there a little more. But I'll hone it, but I don't have to sharpen it. Again, you see us doing a lot of this stuff here, a lot of just moving through. And if you're new here, listen, I say I'm not a knife reviewer, I'm not. But I do try to give you the best look I can give you. And the other thing that I do, guys, is I'm learning the knife as I go. So I'm trying to give you that, I'm literally trying to give you the experience of first taking a knife out of a box so that if you go, I'm going to get that from Shaney. I hope to give you enough look to go, well, if I got it in on a Thursday, I'm leaving on a Friday, I'm comfortable taking it. That's the kind of look I want to give you. Or, hey, that one's staying at the house till I get back and get some practice on it. Would I carry it? Yep, it's going with me in December to a camp with Blackie. It will be one of my primary knives. Having said that, guys, there was a time in this country where 22 veterans a day took their own lives. Now, we came off the weekend, the number's higher. It's still going on. That's why here on this channel, we focus on the number 0. Anything over 0 is simply unacceptable. Vets, we love you. Man, you have a place here. Guys, I back the blue. Here's the deal. It's one of my causes. I don't expect you to support it. Some of you do, some of you don't. Here's the thing. It's near and dear to my heart. But as dear as it is to me, I understand some people just can't do it. So I'm not arguing with anybody about it. I have my reasons. A lot of them are not what you think they are. Finally, if you are an addict, and good Lord knows I am, never quit quitting. Well, Jacob, brother, again, thank you so much. This is badass. Shaney, bro, you kill it every damn time. Guys, I'm Scab. You're not. And I'm gone, son. The Amazon. Shade, Indonesia.